How do folks? How's it diddling? In this video, we are going to have a walkabout and a talk and show you the good, the bad and the ugly in regards to the mighty MG ZR. So, come and join me. Should be a good one. How much rust? All of it. Here is the wonderful MG ZR that I've bought. So let's do a quick walkabout and show you, a bit like with the Clio, the good, the bad and the ugly to do with the car. And also towards the end, I'll tell you how I managed to get hold of it, how much I paid for it and what future plans are for the vehicle. So let's jump in. It's a 2004, so it's a 1.5 or Mk1.5 MG ZR 160, and what makes it quite unique is this wonderful colour. So this is Bright Biomorpic Green. Now, in regards to how many ZRs were painted in this colour, I do believe it was something in the region of about 87 or 89, I'm not entirely sure. But with this being a 160 model, there was only 18 of these ever built by MG Rover in this colour, and it's one of my favourite colours. Now, I picked this up back in March 2022. No, not March, April. Yeah, April, March, you know, roughly about that time. But yeah, as you can see, the sun's out at the moment, and the paint, it hasn't been cleaned in quite a while. It's a little bit rough, and unfortunately the dreaded lacquer peel, don't know if you can see there, has come through quite badly, and it's got various issues with the bodywork. But this was a dream car for me when I was 18, and like I say, I'll get into that story towards the end of the video. But let's go around and see, like I say, the good, the bad and the ugly on this vehicle. Right, let's start with the good. Let's undo the bonnet, catch, there it is, and there we go. So it's got, this is the quite infamous 160 VVC engine, and it's all complete, minus a battery. Might chuck a battery on in a bit and get her fired up, but she needs some work. Not just body-wise, but you know, you can see the rocker cover gasket is doing its best impression of the Exxon Valdez. There is coolant in the tank, but it is a nice original MG. Hasn't been messed with, hasn't been lowered. It's just been kind of, well, not looked after in the past couple of years, but she is rather tidy. And yeah, so that's a good point. Another good point, it's a 3-door. So, you know, 3-door looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I like a 5-door, but 3-door's good. And also, no sunroof, which means that, in theory, the sills won't be rotten out. So, now, let's go into the interior. So here we go, really nice clean interior. Yeah, so going on to the kind of the ugly. That's a bit ugly, but I can repair that or just get another front seat. But inside it is rather tidy. I've got a spare parcel shelf there. Unfortunately, the headliner has done its usual trick and collapsed, so that'll have to be sorted out. Still got its original stereo. This was what this one came with. Also got electric windows, factory fitted electric windows. Need a new glove box and some stereo covers. But when I bought the vehicle as well, it had got these very unusual door handles fitted, which I really like. They're almost like kind of almost, I don't know, don't want to say a carbon effect, but they've got this nice kind of yeah, I kind of like those. And of course, you know, your tray for your CDs, because that was a thing back in 2004, and something for a really tiny bottle there. But in all, the car is actually really clean. It's not too bad. So let's go through some of the not so good bits. Right, starting at the front with the not so good bits. It's got some damage to the bumper. That's been split there. Unfortunately, it's had a bit of a thwack on this corner, so that wing's dented in and the bumper bit's broken, and it's got scuffs on there, and it's a bit split there. Also, this wing has been chooched in, and also this door edge has been folded in, so it's not too good. And this wing, as you can see, the lacquer's all started to peel and craze, and so the fitment's not great. This wing, clearly, obviously, with this thwack, this is a replacement, and this is the wrong colour, so that'll need to be resprayed. Going along this door, it's got lacquer peel, and so I'm guessing that this is again being resprayed and not brilliant. And then going down to the side, so the door again has copped a bit. There's scratches along here, and then there's a bit of a crease in the rear wheel arch, and scuffs in the plastic trim there. So yeah, so this side needs a bit of fettling. Let's go on to the other side, because there's more to come. On this side, you got that bit of a scrape there. They've used the bumper for what it was intended for. There's a bit of grot in this wing, but it's not rotted through, it's just surface. This arch has had a bit of a scrape. All the alloys are scuffed. This is all this has got marks along the door here, which is not great. Don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but not brilliant. This sill has decided to part ways, but feeling underneath here, it's still very solid. There's a tiny bit of surface rust going there. There's a small bit of a scrape there, and it's got this kink in the rear bumper, so I think it's had a bit of a knock on the back, not too hard. If we go around to the back, yeah, so you probably see this scrape there, so this bumper will need to take off. And that, it does come with some good features. It's got these lovely rear lights. Now, when I bought the car, these weren't fitted to them. It had the standard normal rear lights, and you can see there's a bit of a panel gap there. That's not right, is it? Because if you go to the other side, you can do the same. So I think this has had a bit of a rear shunt. But yeah, so I've put these lights on, which make the back end of the car what's really worth. Like I say, it's a 160, so all the goodness. Let me just open up the boot, and oh yeah, so it's also got, I put a new exhaust on. It's not a great fitment because it's like I say, with the bumper having a bit of a bash, it should be a bit more bumper should be up a bit more, so it's catching there. Now, when I bought the vehicle, it didn't have a cat on it. It was cut off, and it had a single exit back box. It looked gack, so I've replaced it with a aftermarket exhaust system that looks fairly standard, but isn't, because it actually sounds really nice. I might even start it up. So let's open up the boots. So there's the standard rear lights, so that's what were fitted to it. Now, I happened to pop down to a local scrapyard far away in Derby, and I managed to pick up, they'd got one ZR in there, which is where these lights are from. Also picked up some other bits, like, you know, these wing mirror interior trim bits, electric switch, and just some bits and bobs. You know, it's always handy to have. Got a spare. I've actually got 3 pairs or 2 pairs, so I've got two of the right for the driver's side, and then I've got a passenger side one there. I did have another passenger side, but I've actually used it on the vehicle because when I bought this, it was missing. Also off that scrap car, I got hold of these front fog lights with the relay and some other bits and pieces, some other relays and switches. I've had to replace, is that, yeah, so this is a broken one because it's split there for one of the control panels, and that one was broken. That one is also broken, so they've all been replaced in the car. Got the side repeaters because again, a side repeater was missing from the car. See, that's the old one that was broken with the old lens, and the fluid cap. So yeah, so and these as well. So these were also in the MG, some official MG mats. They need a good clean, and as you can see, this one's starting to grow some penicillin. But a good clean, and these will go in the car even though they're grey and the interior is black. Yeah, so and there's a new tyre to go on the car as well. Right, let's jump into the interior. Before we jump in the interior, so she's got lacquer peel all over her. The worst is here on the rear spoiler. She's just, yeah, look at that. That's not good. And shiny. So yeah, so this will need to be addressed as well. So she is going to need, there's a bit more. Let's just, yeah. So that'll be neat addressed. It will need a full respray, but for the time being, you know, we'll just want to try and get her on the road as soon as possible. So there you are, folks. So that was a walkabout on the MG ZR. So there is a few other bits and pieces to do, like I say, glove box and bodywork. I also noticed that the driver's rear wheel is slightly kicked in, so possibly need a new rear beam, which is always fun. But in whole, to be fair, how much I paid for this car, and considering that it is what it is with the colour, Bright Biomorpic Green, probably said it a few times, but it's a really gorgeous colour, and it's one of my favourite colours that Rover ever come out with. So let's get into the story of how I purchased this car, when, where, and why it's been sat for so long. So at the start of the video, I said that I bought this car back in April 2022. Now, it was listed on, of all places, Facebook Marketplace. You know how a lot of people are. You know, you're at work and you're just kind of looking through Marketplace, and this popped up not too far from me in Leicestershire. So I messaged the person, said I'm really interested in the car, and it was up for, I think, 400 quid. And I says, I'll give you 500 quid and I'll come and see it tonight, you know, kind of thing. And they messaged back, fair play to them, and said, someone's coming to have a look at the car. And then it was sold. And I was really gutted because it was such a lovely colour, and they rarely come up. When they do, they're usually a couple of grand. But this one is in rough condition. So I was a bit gutted. But then I went to bed. The next morning, got up for work, and again, first thing I did was get on the old Facebook Marketplace because it's an addiction. And to my surprise, it was there again, but this time it was pictured on the back of a recovery truck. So I instantly messaged the person and said, hi, I'm really interested in the vehicle. You know, where are you? Blah, blah, blah. Can you sort out delivery? And the chap was, you know, he says, yeah, no problems. He says it's got no exhaust system. I went, right, okay. He says, I bought it and I've cut the cat off it, the catalytic converter that is, and just kind of selling it for what he bought it for. So, and a lot of people were thinking, why did you do that? Well, on these, the original catalytic converters at the time were worth about 600 quid scrap. And to buy a new one is at least 400 quid. So I kind of bit the bullet, bought it anyway, for £400. I think it was another 110 quid to get delivered to my works, where I used to work at. And yeah, a couple of hours later, it turned up and it was everything that I expected and more. You know, I knew that it was a bit rough, it had been a bit abused, and that the panels are very damaged. It hasn't been looked after the past couple of owners. So it deserves to live, really. You know, I could break it for parts and get me money back, but again, that's not what the Crap Car Hunter channel's about. It's trying to save vehicles like this that, yeah, I could make a good profit by breaking it, but nah, I'd rather keep this. And plus, it, like I say, it doesn't owe me much money. So 400 quid to buy the car. It cost me, again, just over 400 quid for a new catalyst converter, which was very painful. But then realising from the cat back, the exhaust system was rotten. So I ended up paying out another 120 quid for a middle pipe and back box from a company in Lichfield. So it looks like a standard system. The reason that was so cheap is because the middle pipe doesn't have a resonator in it. So she's pretty loud. Not obnoxiously loud, but she is louder than normal. But it sounds nice. It's a 160. And yeah, so it's been sat here for over a year now on the front of my house. And you know, I've got other projects to do. Like I say, it does run, it does drive. Even though I haven't started it since February, since I got the Clio, because I had to move this out the way to put the Clio in the middle, because I knew that this ran and drove. So, and when I bought the Clio, that didn't. So I didn't want to block this in with that. So anyway, so there's a lot to do on the Clio. Well, yeah, there is a lot to do on the Clio, but there's a lot to do on this MG to bring it back up to showroom standard. It clearly needs a respray. It needs the bodywork sorting out, obviously, before the respray, and various things. It needs a new headliner. It needs a service on the engine. It needs new discs and pads all round. It needs the rear axle sorting out because, like I said, the driver's rear wheel is a bit kinked over, so need to sort that out. What else? And then there's just little bits like the glove box. It needs a new glove box. And then, you know, cosmetic things, really, you know. Oh yeah, and it needs a new lambda sensor. So that means that I've had to buy a new one of those, which was like, again, not very cheap. It was like nearly 50 quid. And because it's not really on a flat, stable surface, I can't really get underneath it at the moment to put the new one in. But I will. You know, the seat over here is pushed back in order to, because it's down here, like. So I have to plug it in from there, from underneath, and it's got a rubber seal. So, yeah, there's a lot to do with this. I kind of really want to get the Clio on the road. So, yeah, that is the story behind my MG ZR 160 Bright Biomorpic Green. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's up to you. Like and subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Also got, like I say, in all the videos, got social media. I'm on X, formerly Twitter, got Instagram and TikTok as well, where I always put little short videos up. And yeah, so I'm going to leave it there, folks, because I've been waffling on for a long bloody time, and the weather is not going to improve, and I need to do some more bits and pieces. So, until the next video, folks, have a good one, and always remember, Dowdy bar.